I had hit all the rock bottoms. Again, prison, homelessness, giving up custody of my daughter, all these terrible things. I was able to learn from it.
Yeah.
And now I can help other people who are going through, challenges in their own life.
We all see it. We can't ignore it. It's in front of our faces every time we walk down the street. Tucson has a substance abuse problem. If you or anyone you know struggles with addiction or sobriety, this episode is for you. Today, we talk to Mike Curry. Mike Curry is a shining example of life after addiction, and now he's helping other Tucsonans get their lives back. Mike was sincerely an open book in this episode, and it was a pleasure to talk to him. I hope you will also enjoy this conversation as much as I did. For those on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you like about anything or about this episode, preferably. This is episode 5. I'm glad everybody's been enjoying what we've been making, and yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you don't want to watch it with ads, subscribe on my website at tucsonan.com. No ads. You get some special perks depending on the tier. Yeah, we got some stuff coming, some stuff planned for everybody, and it's gonna be really exciting. I hope you enjoy this conversation.
You guys tell me when you're ready.
Yeah, no, we're just.
Have you had anybody ever talk about sobriety on your show?
No, not yet, actually.
Right.
No. Like right now, like I mean, what I've most of my past guests and most of the acquaintances that I've made from the first podcast are more of the artist activist area than anything. So yeah, and like your content seemed like your whole content seemed really interesting. So we're good. That's gonna turn off right now, so that's fine.
Okay.
Well, I guess we can start, Mike. From what I know. And from what little bit that I've been introduced with Nina, what she told me about and everything is that you are basically somebody who's helping specifically entrepreneurs work with sobriety, right?
Correct.
And specifically with alcoholism or just in general sobriety.
I have a copywriter I work with.
Mm-hmm.
I switched my messaging up a bit to kind of model somebody who's having success in that space.
Oh, okay.
As an entrepreneur,
right?
It's very challenging and difficult when you start out to figure out what works and what doesn't.
For sure.
And so, at the end of the day, I don't know if you've ever heard this in marketing, but this idea was impressed on me recently, and it's you sell them what they want, but you give them what they need.
Interesting.
Okay, so. The person may have trouble with marijuana, with cocaine, with other substances.
Sure.
But alcohol seems to be the one that across the board most people struggle with. Business owners, entrepreneurs, specifically salespeople as well.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart. Being a business owner, you got to worry about payroll. You got to worry about sales. You got to worry about all these things, right? Feeding your family ultimately as well.
For sure.
And the stresses that it causes, the anxieties that it causes. A lot of people will use substances, specifically alcohol. It's legal.
Yeah.
Marijuana even,
yeah.
To kind of knock off at night, to kind of de-stress or take the edge off or whatever their thought process is.
Right.
And, first of all, I'm not inherently against drugs or alcohol. If I could still be doing it, I would be.
Right.
It's just, it wasn't successful anymore for me.
Right.
It created a lot of problems in my life.
Sure.
And so I think what happens is, oftentimes if we have struggles, if the business, for example, if it's an entrepreneur business owner, let's say they go through a tough stretch.
Yeah.
They may lean on alcohol more during that time to overcome the mental challenges, to overcome the extra anxiety, the extra pressures of that.
Right.
A lot of the men that I talk to, because I work with men specifically, will say, hey, I don't want to bother my wife with this stuff. She's raising the family, she's raising the kids. This is my responsibility.
Huge.
So who is their outlet, right? Who do they're not going to go to their employees.
Right.
So that is a way where people can say, hey, I'll use this as
an outlet,
a tool, a crutch, an outlet, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
But then once things hit the fan, then sometimes there can be a point of no return where if you truly have like the alcoholism or the addiction that is genetic, maybe running families, things like that, it's very hard to go back from that.
Right.
And so that's where I come in. I just want to be a resource for people, not only in this community, but across the United States. My vision is to have clients across the country,
right?
Which I've been successful at so far. I go to a lot of events outside of Arizona.
Nice.
And, it doesn't just affect people here. It's across the world.
It's across the world.
And, what I will say too is it doesn't matter of, your affluence or non-affluence. It doesn't matter what skin color you are, what race you are. Like,
Right.
it will affect your life in a negative way
For sure.
if you have that propensity for addiction. If you lean on it too much,
Yeah.
there can be a lot of issues.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, for sure. That makes a lot of sense. How long have you been doing this exactly? This specific work?
Yeah. So I've been helping people for about 7 years, but as a profession for about a year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So very new to entrepreneurship.
Interesting.
To being a business owner. Yeah.
Where did that flip come in?
Well, so I was working for an automotive dealership here in Tucson for about 5.5 years.
Wow. Okay.
And, I found myself talking to all my clients about my personal journey in recovery. And, everybody, at the end of the day, everybody knows somebody. You know somebody who's affected by addiction or alcoholism.
For sure.
Whether it's a neighbor, a friend, a cousin, an aunt, like it doesn't matter. Everybody knows somebody at this point.
Yes.
Some people hide it a little better than others.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, the way I view it is if I can speak life into somebody who is not that person and kind of share my journey and the hope that I share with people, then they can go back to that individual and have a different conversation. They can come at it from a different perspective because they know somebody who got through it. Because oftentimes we'll butt heads with that person. This is how it was with my folks.
Right.
They didn't understand me. I was not trying to understand where they were coming from either. I just want leave me alone. Let me do my thing.
Right.
But I was destroying myself.
Right.
And
how long did you struggle with addiction until you were out of it?
Gosh, that's a great question. I think that, I'm 48 years old, grew up here in Tucson, grew up on the west side.
Nice.
Went to Tucson High. So, we did what Tucson High kids did. We smoked weed and we drank 40s in high school and, sat on the front porch at my buddy's parents' house.
It started young as it be.
Yeah. And it was fun and games, nothing too crazy.
Sure.
I will say that I was always very curious. I had that curiosity kind of attitude. So when other substances would be introduced, I would say, yeah, I'll try it.
Let me try it. Yeah.
And some of my friends, it's like they knew before I did, right? Because they'd be like, don't give him that stuff.
Damn. Yeah. They could tell. They could tell,
yeah.
Mike is a fiend.
Right,
wait.
Right.
That'd be the friends, though.
Yeah. So yeah, man. I mean, it was like, it was fun and games until it wasn't. I started getting arrested.
Of course.
I started getting in a lot of trouble and real trouble. Not the kind of BS stuff that, I don't know how old you are.
I'm 32.
Okay. So you probably know some people when you were younger that would talk the talk. They would talk like they were little gangsters. They would walk like they were little gangsters.
Sure.
But they were not little gangsters.
Sure.
They weren't doing gangster shit. I was locked up in the state of Arizona's prison system.
Wow.
Those are real gangsters.
Right.
Those are people that actually did what they said they were going to do.
Right.
And a term that I heard in prison was don't talk about it, be about it.
Right.
And that applies to life in general.
It's huge.
So what happened was when I started committing more crimes and getting more involved in addiction and getting deeper into that, it's like the friends scattered. The ones that said they were about it and this and that and the other, they just wanted to sit around and talk about it. They didn't want to actually do stuff. And if you look around you here in Tucson today, the amount of kids that are getting murdered today, the amount of kids that are dying from addiction today it's so crazy. And I think that there has to be a solution. There has to be a solution where kids have hope and that there's something else that is looked at as a goal as opposed to being this glorified street person, gangster, whatever you want to call it. I'm not saying I was that person. But what I'm saying is I started to do those activities.
Right.
And then what I saw was people just scatter.
Right.
Right.
Nah.
So I ended up going to prison for robbing pharmacies, Walgreens pharmacies here in Tucson.
Really?
So at one time I was addicted, to alcohol, to weed, to coke, to prescription pain meds.
Wow.
Methamphetamines, heroin, you name it. I was addicted to all of it at one time or another. Right. Because my goal is just to really check out.
Yeah. Well, I have so many questions. There's a lot of things here. What are the numbers on that? You're very passionate about the fact of like how kids are dealing with something right now. Do you have any idea on the numbers? Because I have no idea.
I don't. But what I can tell you is I watch the news often, and for example, 2 weeks ago, I think there was 3 or 4 murders in 1 week.
Right.
And these kids, unfortunately, are looking to their older cousins and brothers and family members who are in this lifestyle and glorifying that lifestyle.
Sure.
And what I can tell you is that I tried to live that lifestyle, and man, it just was miserable.
Right.
It was, again, people that you really think are your friends are not your
Right.
friends.
Mm-hmm.
And it only leads to death and destruction. You know, I identify as a Christian today,
Yeah.
and the enemy, he comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
Right.
And that's exactly what addiction does to you. That's exactly what gangbanging and street life does to you.
Sure.
I mean, you look around you, you're right in the thick of it right here. I'm sure you see stuff every day.
Yeah.
People walking by. And I was
Yeah.
homeless here in Tucson for about 3 years.
Were you?
So I was one of the guys walking up and down the street here.
Wow.
So that's how far it took me.
Wow. How was that? What was that like for you?
It was interesting. I always joke and tell people I was homeless before it was cool to be homeless,
Bruh.
before fentanyl and
terrible.
before COVID. Because if you think about it, prior to 2020,
Yeah.
2019, before fentanyl was really hitting the streets,
Yeah, for sure.
there was not a lot of homeless people out there.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Okay,
It
so
wasn't
if you
that
look
bad.
back about 7 years ago, there was a shift.
Yeah.
You know, COVID created this atmosphere where people lost housing because they weren't working and things
Yeah.
like that.
Mhm.
And then again, going back to a business owner, there's really no difference between anybody in addiction. Just some people already have money and status and some people do not.
Sure.
But if your problems start piling up and you don't deal with them as they come around and you put it off for a later date, it will come back to bite you in the butt.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
you don't know when that's going to be.
Yeah, there's like it's like I don't forget where I heard this metaphor, but it's like at first it starts really small. It's like a small dragon, like a small lizard, and slowly but surely, if you keep ignoring it, it feeds it and it gets big. It's bigger and bigger until like you have to address it.
Yeah.
You have to see it. So
Yeah,
like that's
100%.
that's a giant pattern for sure. That's so interesting. What was something? Was it in the 3 years of being homeless that turned things around for you, or
You know what?
what brought you to the other side? Because I mean, it sounds like you were dealing with it for a good long time.
Yeah, I was dealing with it. So when my daughter, I have one child.
Oh,
When
okay.
she was about 1.5 years old, I surrendered my rights to her as a father in the state of Arizona here.
Okay.
And so that was what really sent me over the edge.
Mm.
And I always tell people, like, I was too chicken shit to kill myself, but I was suicidal in every way
Sure.
possible.
Sure.
Because of my actions.
Of course. Yeah.
You know, behind curves here, I can remember pulling a shotgun on this poor young girl because she ripped me off for heroin.
Wow.
You know, like I only say that because that's not me. That's not my character. I wasn't raised that way.
Right.
That's what addiction will do to you.
Mm-hmm. It's like this.
That's what insanity will do to you.
Right. It's a desperation, right?
It is desperation.
Wow.
And so prior to going to prison, I was homeless. After I got out of prison, I tried to kind of live at a halfway house, trying to do the right thing. What I ended up doing was hanging around the same people that I was associating with. And so just a tip for anybody who's trying to get sober, you got to change your whole life. You can't just say, I'm going to get a job that'll make things better. You can't just say, I'll move to the other side of town. That'll make things better.
Yeah.
Because you know what? You got to take yourself with you when you go to the other side of the town.
Right.
You still have all the phone numbers of all the same people you're talking to.
Yep.
You know, you kind of got to clean the slate and start fresh.
Right.
Whether you're somebody who has success or you're somebody again on the street. I mean, you will get sucked back into it. Misery loves company. People will call on you. If you're down and out one day, you will call on them. If you have a moment where you slip, you say, you know what? Fuck it. There's always a fucking involved.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
That the context is so giant. I feel like it's a giant habit that people have to like separate themselves from where they're at and not take into consideration the context within those patterns arose, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But that's giant. It's a very valid observation.
And so back to your question, I know I walked into a Circle K on Broadway and Euclid, and I was gonna rob it, and I put a mask on my face, and something came over me and said, "Don't do it." And so basically, I walked out of that Circle K, walked back to where I was staying that night, and the next day, I started knocking on people's doors and asking, "Can I clean your yard?" Because basically, I was gonna rob this store to get food because I was desperate, I was hungry
Right.
at that point. It wasn't for drugs; it was for food.
For food.
And so it was I had hit all the rock bottoms. Again, prison, homelessness, giving up custody of my daughter, all these
Right.
terrible things. But it was in this moment where I felt so desperate and so sick and tired of my current situation that I was like, you know what? This is not what I want anymore.
Right.
And so that next day, I'll never forget, I knock on this college kid's door. You know, this poor kid, he's like late for class, and he's like, well, I got like $8, dude. And I was like, cool, I'll take it. And I cleaned his yard for about 6 or 7 hours over at Broadway and Campbell.
Wow.
Walked across the street, bought myself a sandwich at the Safeway there. And it was an incredible feeling.
Yeah, I bet.
It was an incredible
How
feeling.
delicious was that sandwich?
Man, it was good. I sweat equity that I put in to get that.
Yeah.
Right? But I worked really hard
Yeah.
to earn money, which I hadn't done in quite some time. Because basically in my addiction, I started boosting from stores.
Right.
I would rob people. Like whatever I had to do, I would do.
For sure.
Again, not proud of that, not trying to glorify that, but that's where addiction can take you.
Yeah.
Right. So that was a turning point. It wasn't like the moment where everything changed because I'm hard-headed to the core. I had to fall on my face a bunch of more times to realize, no, what I truly wanted was long-term sobriety. Again, going back to my point earlier, I have nothing wrong with alcohol or drugs. If I could still do it and still like function as a human being and work and do all these things and have a loving family, I would. It's just none of that stuff worked for me after a while.
Right.
And so, what I saw was I wanted to be sober day after day, year after year, decade after decade. And I took it as a challenge because I feel like a lot of people do lean on the substances to get through life.
That's huge. Yeah.
And so, the term raw dogging life, right? Like I want a raw dog life and I want to feel the feeling.
Right. Yeah. 100%.
That I was blocking for years and decades.
Huge.
And so I see that now that, I'm working with business owners and entrepreneurs and high-level salespeople. It's a little more difficult, I would say, because they're never going to really lose their home. They're never in jeopardy of being in a situation I was in.
Right.
And so that plays tricks on your mind. Because what that'll tell you is I'm not as bad as those people over there.
They have something to compare to.
But yet every single night they'll come home from work and crack that beer, smoke that joint, do that line, whatever it is. And then in the morning they're like, man, I said I wasn't going to do that last night. And I did it anyways. Oh, well, I'm going to go to work.
Right.
And it's just this cycle.
Yeah.
So they're never going to lose their home, or there's never going to be a situation bad enough to
make them change.
Yeah, oftentimes it's a wife that leaves, a kid that dies of an overdose, and the parent has to look at themselves. Something really tragic, oftentimes, not always.
Yeah.
Oftentimes has to change. But the level of clients that I truly want to work with, I think they are open and receptive to the idea of changing before that stuff happens because they're high quality people already.
Right.
It's just one area of their life that they can't seem to manage. And that kind of eats at people too.
Yeah, for sure. They're really self-selected for reaching out for it, right? The people you've encountered and helped.
Yeah. And I mean, they're people who value their time.
Right.
They're people that want to overcome something.
Yeah.
They put their money where their mouth is.
Right.
And they just want to get through it, and they want somebody who's been there to walk them through it. So
incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. Truly, for me, like I guess I have an addictive personality, but it's never really been through substances. I've had my moments with certain substances.
Yeah.
But I had an older brother who was addicted to Oxycontins.
Okay.
And he was in the death throes of it. I mean, he basically lost a relationship with his wife at the time, and his oldest lives with me. So like it's a whole thing. But he found a way out, a very specific way out, which I find fascinating. I'm curious to ask you about it. But he's one close example that I have for addiction. And because of his example, he himself, he was like, don't do anything that's chemically made.
Yeah.
Don't do anything that's chemically made. It was one warning. And I remember that I took that to heart, and anything I tried was more, I guess you could say, natural.
Yeah.
I would drink when I was able to drink, and then I smoked weed for a good while and stuff like that. I enjoyed it. I ended up going into the psychedelics route. I was more of a hippie. I went in that direction, which is, again, for sort of my brother's fault. The other person that I have close in my life who really dealt with it and also was going through it. I didn't experience it myself. I just know he was in the journey when I was growing up. Was my older dad, my father. Okay. My father was an alcoholic till like 30, 33 or something like that. Like he was dealing with it for a long time. Maybe it was 28 when he flipped. Okay. He was in the death rows from what he told me. He was really, really struggling, and he was also starting a business. He was like in the middle of getting everything going. My older brother was just in the scene, so he was, from what I understood, it was a hectic time for him. And around that time is when he stopped, and he joined AA, and he did that. And he didn't touch it for
for years. I think I was 20 when he finally like casually drank one again, and now casually drinks again.
Yeah.
But
Amazing.
but he I remember growing up, he was like, you should read the AA book. It's a great book. And like
Your
like
brother or your dad said that?
my older my
Oh,
dad,
okay,
my dad,
okay,
my dad.
okay.
My older brother didn't do AA. He my older brother's funny. He I don't know why or what impulsed him to like keep searching for a way out that really would help him, because again, I mean, OxyContin is a different level of addiction. And he would have this cycle of getting off of it but relapsing, getting off of it and relapsing. So AA wasn't something that helped him. He needed something stronger.
Yeah.
He I don't know. This is like in 2011.
Okay.
This is where like before I heard anything about this.
Yeah.
My older brother
That
found,
actually makes sense because OxyContin isn't even out there anymore.
Yeah,
it's transformed into other things.
Yeah,
But
100%. Yeah, no. And so my older brother, he searching for an answer, he found something called ibogaine. And he went and had a treatment and came back and basically was fine. Like basically came back with withdrawal free, addiction free.
Amazing.
He's
So ibogaine is plant medicine, is that right?
ibogaine is a plant medicine. Yeah. So it comes from iboga.
Okay.
And the ibogaine is the distillate, I guess you could say, the real specific chemical that really changes things. It's not nice. It's not fun from what he explained to me. He told me he was like bedridden for 3 days.
Wow.
Minor hallucinations from what I understood, but he was just like, he couldn't function. He had to be under supervision because I think there's something with the heart that might be trepidatious about it. But he came back like normal. He came back sort of normal. So it's a very interesting case. I remember it's just like, it was 2011 for me. I was like a junior in high school maybe.
Okay.
I was just like, my older brother's like okay now.
Yeah.
Like this is weird.
A miracle.
Yeah, this is pretty crazy. And so there was it was like a seed that planted for me and like made me think of like, oh, there's things out here that exist that really could help people out. And so yeah, like when it comes to addiction, like I said, like I think I have an addictive personality with certain things, but substances are funny because like I'm very keen on how things make me feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember for like alcohol, for instance, I remember there was a point where I realized that alcohol gave me like a kind of hangover that wasn't like a physical hangover or like an actual headache hangover. It was like an emotional distress.
Yeah.
And like an increase in like emotional sensitivity and stuff like that. And at this point I don't drink. Like I don't drink at all. My mom yells at me about it and shit. And like, you know, because like it's just like
have a beer, mijo.
Yeah, you know, like participate, hang out and stuff like that. But it's just like I can't do it.
That's a whole nother conversation. I mean, the amount of people that will
dude
pressure you to drink
the social pressure, right?
Yeah.
The social pressure. The funny thing is that so I around 23 I started doing a practice of fasting. And I would follow this spiritual, I don't know how else to say it, like a spiritual pattern of fasting on the new moon, or fasting on the day of my birth, which was a Friday.
Okay.
So and you know, back then I would go out and I'll have friends that are artists, DJs and stuff like that. So I'll be out on a Friday, and everybody's drinking. And I'm cold sober, fasting.
Yeah.
Out in the club, basically.
Raw dog in life.
Yeah, you know, and so and so like that pressure of society always pressuring you, seeing if like you could go and like the people would just like couldn't handle the fact that like, what do you mean you're not drinking?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It just blows their mind.
Yeah, it blows their minds. And so I can only imagine that pressure with somebody like trying to stop drinking or trying to be sober.
Yeah.
And when if the people around you aren't receptive to that and accept it, the pressure of that is so intense. Because I feel like people who end up being addicts, they're highly sensible to social pressure. Mm-hmm. And that's just not to say that they're like weak or anything like that.
They're just highly sensitive people.
100%.
It's been my experience interviewing people.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's such a fascinating thing. Are you stuck in the rent trap? Making a check once a month, paying your landlord, building their wealth and not yours? Well, this sponsor might just be for you. Nina's trying to help as many people as possible make the leap to home ownership, even when it feels impossible. and it may be closer than you think. So check out our website here at the QR code or in the description for vital information. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of this episode. What have been like from your perspective, what has been a fascinating story you've heard with somebody dealing with that social pressure?
Well, I can think of one guy in particular. He's a medical device salesperson. He does very, very well. Him and his wife moved out here from Kansas City. They've been here for 20 plus years.
Right.
And drinking is part of sales culture, is part of meetings, is part of networking, is part of everything.
That's
right?
so cool. That's
if
so
you're gonna do a
wild to
business
me.
deal, you're gonna have a beer or two, right? I mean,
Sure.
that's kind of how it just goes.
Uh-huh.
So culture and society kind of dictate that and determine that. And so for a lot of people, they can't imagine an identity without that. And then there's also that pressure of, hey, what is people going to think of me? So that was this guy's experience. He goes, hey, I was a little nervous that first time saying, no, I'm not going to drink. And he said one of his clients pulled him aside afterward and just asked him, he goes, yeah, I'm just not drinking anymore. He goes, oh, that's awesome. And for him, that was enough. It was like validation, right?
Yeah, huge.
But I've heard other experiences where people are, for me, I go to bars and I'll sit at the bar and I'll eat food at the bar because one, I get served quicker, and two, I want to watch a game.
Right.
I mean, so it doesn't interest me. It doesn't, I'm in a position of neutrality over alcohol. Like,
Right.
I can care less about it. I can walk down a liquor aisle and care. Not everybody's like that, and I get that, and I can respect that.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you're somebody who, again, I think it boils down to identity, and I think it boils down to how much you actually care about what other people think, and are those people really your friends? Are those going to be the people that are going to, if you have a flat tire and it's 4 a.m. and you're in 3 points, are those going to be the people that are going to come and help you? Probably not.
Right.
Because they're hungover, they're still drunk.
Right.
Or they're there because misery loves company.
Right.
You're just one less person that's drinking that wants to co-sign their bullshit, and vice versa. And so, if you're that guy that says, I'm out, are those people even calling you after that? Or are those people wanting to spend time together? Probably not. Right?
Yeah.
So from a business perspective, and I did a 12-step program as well.
Oh, okay.
And that worked for me.
Yeah.
But what I've also experienced is all these people, I've interviewed over 30 people now, and they all have different ways they got sober. Some people use plant medicine. Some people go to church. Some people just have a white lightning spiritual experience and they're just done.
Right.
Okay. A lot of people actually learn they won't even pick up because they saw their sibling or their parent go through something so traumatic and so terrible that they're just like, I'm not even going down that path. Right. Like you saw your brother struggle with Oxycontin, besides him telling you, hey, don't do anything man-made or whatever.
Sure.
Or, you're like, hey, I don't want to experience. You saw exactly the pains that he went through.
No, 100%.
And, heroin and oxys and now fentanyl is destroying society.
Right.
It's so prevalent everywhere and it's so cheap. And now it's getting cut with everything.
Yeah.
So,
which is such a weird thing because, like, why would you cut that with other stuff?
You'll cut meth with it. You'll cut coke with it. I mean, you name it.
It's so interesting. Like, I mean, to me, as like, if we're thinking practical terms, as somebody who's trying to make a buck, why would you risk trying to kill your customers? Doesn't make sense to me. But that's
so I heard something interesting, and I don't know if this is true.
Okay.
But when Chapo Guzman got locked up,
sure,
he said, "I'm going to release the Blue Dragon as a for getting locked up, right? For the U.S. Like, let's be real. They probably could have captured him long ago. Okay, that guy has power and manipulation like nobody else.
For sure.
So when they said, no, we're going to lock you up, he said, I'm going to release the Blue Dragon. And what that was fentanyl. So that was around 2018 and 2019.
Oh, interesting.
So I think the U.S. government is involved in a lot of trafficking, to be quite honest with you.
I mean, it's in the history.
Okay. And so they probably were having him not have it, saying, hey, listen, we'll let you bring your coke across, but we're not doing that. Sure. You look at the fabric of America is getting destroyed by it.
Interesting.
Imagine how many people walk by here on a daily basis that are bent over sideways, backwards, that don't even know where they're at, that aren't cleanly, it's really taking humanity out of people.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's a terrible substance.
Yeah.
And so you never know if I wanted to go buy some coke in Vegas, just a casual Tuesday night, I'm there on a work trip with some buddies, a business trip or whatever. I'll buy that coke. You never know what's in it nowadays. You're playing Russian roulette.
Yeah.
You know,
It's huge.
And so, I mean, again, I don't have a problem with drugs or alcohol. Again, I'd probably still do them if I could successfully. I was the party guy. I had a lot of fun.
I bet.
And I could
man.
have fun with 2 people in the room.
I bet.
Or 100 people. It really didn't matter. I mean, I got stories for you.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not here to glorify that, but you know.
but you've lived it.
Yeah,
You
and I
lived
love
it.
being social. And I love being social,
Yeah.
going out to these bars and these restaurants and
Sure.
places where people are networking and having drinks. And my goal is to have as much fun as I can and be the liveliest person there. I want people to think I'm drunk.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What is it? It reminds me of something that I remember from. I think it's like a quote from Jesus. It was like, "Don't get drunk on wine, get drunk on like the Spirit or something like that."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's true.
Yeah.
You know, life is precious. Life is beautiful.
Yeah.
I think you have to go through challenges in life.
Mm.
And I think that's a big issue nowadays with younger people.
Yeah.
Is their parents want to protect them because of the world we live in, which is fine.
Sure.
But at the end of the day, if you're not challenging yourself, being challenged by circumstances and getting resiliency is a muscle that you build,
Right.
then you're going to fall apart when something big happens.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think from that perspective, people have to go through stuff.
Right.
I
for
had
sure.
to go through all that stuff. It made me who I am today. That's
Right.
why we're sitting here having this conversation.
Yeah. 100%.
So I don't look at it as bad or good or anything like that. I look at it as, no, it was just experience.
Mhm.
I was able to learn from it.
Yeah.
And now I can help other people who are going through, you know, challenges in their own life.
100%. Yeah, because I mean, it's interesting how vital it is for one's own psychology to go through a challenge and come out the other side of it. It builds a reputation with oneself, which basically translates to self-esteem,
Right.
which is giant.
Right.
Which is giant. I think there's a giant lack of self-esteem out there, and so which is connected to like the addiction issues and stuff like that. So
social media.
Social media is giant. I mean,
Yeah.
but that's another.
I mean, this is an addiction in of its own.
Right,
And honestly,
right.
I have a lot of issues with this.
Oh, yeah?
So I have a timer on my phone. I don't always adhere to it.
Yeah.
But from 8 to 12 and from 1 to 6, like I'm not on social media, or at least I try not to.
Mike, I'm the same way.
You know.
Right now, this phone, my actual personal phone,
Yeah.
I have no social media. The only thing I have access to on this is fucking Twitter. But I do my best not to get on it.
Yeah.
That phone that's used for the white
work
shot,
phone?
that's the work phone that has all the social medias and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And I like, and they're like, I'm lacking on the social media posting and stuff. So like, because I just hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
I hate it so much.
Yeah.
I don't want to participate, but I know I have to.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
like,
that's the world we live in, right?
I know it's
You
just the world we
Yeah.
live in. It's so tough.
Well, hopefully, you know, the goal is to get as successful as you can get, so that way you can pay someone else to just do it. For
Yeah,
you.
that'd be nice.
You know? Yeah.
That'd be
'Cause,
nice.
I mean, if you look at the really big titans in coaching spaces or business,
sure.
I doubt they have somebody that does their social media.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they're looking at it.
Yeah.
But they're not the ones posting it, content and
Or
doing this and that.
Easily, like the I can see easily where they'll just record a video
Yeah.
and be like, "Hey, go post this, please."
Yeah.
So that'd be nice. It's so cool. And then
Yeah.
you know, like the other person's getting a salary out of it, and they're like living off of it, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
So like, that is a great idea.
Yeah.
Who are like your business aspirations? Like, who do you look at as an inspiration for like when it comes to your business endeavors and stuff?
Yeah, that's a great question. I actually was just in a year-long program called the Legendary Program with a guy named David Bayer. And so David Bayer, he's in the coaching space. He's a mindset coach. He hosts retreats. He is also, I would consider him like a thought leader. He's also developing, like, he's trying to buy a country at this point in Africa to have his own like utopian place.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
He's trying to pull Akon.
And
That's so funny.
And he's actually creating his own insurance, which is dude, it's this whole thing. Like, we went to Guatemala in September. And he explained the whole program. I didn't sign up for it then, but it was like $2,000 to get involved with the program right then and there. And then each year you pay a subscription. And he was talking about how he's building it out, who he's working with, the people that he, you know, is developing this with. And it was it was incredible. I mean, the guy's very driven. He's also somebody who's sober. So that's kind of how, you know, I don't know if you've heard of some of these old school philosophers from like the 1920s.
Maybe.
Let me think if I can think of the guy's name off the top of my head. There's a few of them out there that there's videos all over YouTube of guys from the 20s that really had this kind of radical philosophy surrounding manifestation, surrounding spirituality, you know, how to earn a living, combining it with those things of that nature. it was personal development before it was called personal development.
Right.
And so he subscribes to a lot of what those people did. And the interesting part for me is I've watched a lot of those videos over the years. And then there's the Zig Ziglars of the 90s and people like that have come around, you know, throughout time.
Yeah.
And it's like he just articulates and puts things together in such a way that it makes sense to the average person.
Right.
And I think a lot of times that's what makes somebody who they are is they have that capacity to do that.
Yeah.
To take kind of complex, you know, concepts and really, you know, whittle them down to where the average person can understand.
Yeah, the gift of gab.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're great. I love finding people like that. It's where they can speak so succinctly that you inherently understand.
Yeah.
And good ones, and in my opinion, good ones are ones that use words that you've never heard of, and you understand it in the way they used it.
In the context.
It's so great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really. It'd be great to know if you've ever figured out the name. Let me know.
Yeah.
I'll be curious about it.
As soon as we get out.
Yeah.
I mean, Earl Nightingale, he's one of the guys. I mean, those are like super old school guys.
Wow.
All the videos are black and white. And so a lot of these concepts they learned, a lot of what this guy, David Baer, talks about is teachings of Jesus. And how you can use those teachings today to apply to your life. I mean, Jesus was the only perfect person that ever lived, right?
Sure.
So to speak. And, you know, the way he talked to people, what he said, I think that oftentimes people with super intelligence or somebody like that, it's not even really what they say. If you break it down, you can actually get a bunch from the saying without actually understanding exactly what he's saying. And I don't know if that makes any sense.
I'm getting what you're saying, and it's true. Like there's a lot with good speakers, with good messages, with good memes.
There's a hidden message within them.
Yeah. Always. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like ideas are structured or amalgamations of different memes, and memes are like the smallest unit of an idea. So like I get entirely what you're saying, and that's the thing about the Bible is the Bible is a collection of a plethora of memes that have been passed down for a long time. So like and then with the specific teachings of Jesus, like that's, man, who knows how long that's been being passed down by humanity itself. So I completely get what you're saying. There's a lot there that can be uncovered. When did Christianity come into your life?
So I grew up Catholic.
You grew up Catholic.
I went to St. Peter and Paul School.
You want to keep the mic a little closer?
I went to St. Peter and Paul,
you if you want.
Which is on Campbell and between Grant and Speedway here.
Oh, okay.
And you know, I never remember opening a Bible. I never remember. I was an altar boy. You know, growing up on the west side of the church here, all this stuff. And we had nuns as teachers, and I'm left-handed, and they would slap me on my wrist with the ruler, dude.
They slapped you on your wrist.
Yeah.
That's funny,
bro. I was always in trouble.
That's a classic Catholic thing.
I was always in trouble. I started getting arrested in junior high school. I never, because of my own doing, you know, I never really wanted to know more or have a relationship with God. So I strayed. You know, and so we started going to a church here in Tucson, myself and my now fiance, back in 2017.
Okay.
And she had grown up kind of in the church with her grandparents. She had had a really rough childhood, so I met her when I was homeless at a liquor store, and she started letting me live with her.
Oh wow!
And so yeah, we've got quite the history.
There you go.
Yeah. So now she's super successful.
You were homeless? And you met her at a liquor store, and she let you live with her.
Yeah,
what a character,
game, right? I
clearly, bro.
No, it wasn't like that. It was just, you know, it was meant to be, obviously.
Yeah, for
she's
sure.
A wonderful person.
Yeah.
And so yeah, she wanted to go to church. I wanted to go to church. I wanted to go somewhere different from where I grew up. I wanted to have my own conception of God, my own relationship.
Huge.
I didn't want to rely on what my parents taught me or my aunt or the church, the dogma, the doctrine of the church, things like that.
You're a renegade, aren't you?
I guess. Yeah. And so but also here's another thing. So I had a spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
And around that time, I started listening to Christian music every day, like K-Love. So K-Love is a Christian station that's here in town.
Sure.
What's across the country.
Yeah.
And they have what they call the 30-day challenge. So I took that. And basically all you listen to is K-Love for 30 straight days.
Whoa.
And let me tell you, it was incredible because every song told my story. Every song told the story of being in pain, of being broken, and of resurrecting yourself. So the way I view it is Jesus wasn't the only person who resurrected.
Right.
People resurrect on a daily basis. They come back to life. They're broken individuals. Their spirit's broken, and God intervenes. They have a spiritual experience, whatever God they believe in. Because to be quite honest with you, I'm very open. When I talk to people, like, if you believe in something other than I do, I respect that.
Right.
It's whatever's in your heart.
Yeah.
Whatever's pulling you to discover the truth about life, about yourself.
I'm in complete agreement. I think the dilemma is, when it comes to people being like worried about that stuff, is the dilemma is semantics. Like, because we're all talking about this deep human experience that we can all have, that we only can associate it with the word spirituality, with
how do you describe the undescribable?
Yeah, it's in the literal world is ineffable. So like you can't it. So like I'm in complete agreement.
But
with you.
humans will mess that up, right?
Yeah,
we all have our own conceptions.
We get attached to the way we know how it's described. We get attached to our golden calves, as a biblical term, you know. So like I'm in complete agreement with you. Like I have a very, very personal description and relationship with my higher power.
Yeah.
And I consider myself I like the word religious, so like I consider myself a very religious person.
Okay.
And so I get that.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. I mean, I went to, my high school was a private Catholic school.
Okay. Where did you go?
It wasn't. I might be wrong about the Catholic part, but it was religious.
Okay.
I went to San Miguel.
Oh, that is a Catholic school. Yeah.
Yeah. I went to San
My
Miguel.
old boss was the one that helped found that school.
Really?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Old boss.
Mr. Click.
Oh yeah, he was highly involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he visited once or twice. So yeah, no, I had that, and the funny thing is that growing up, my parents are very interesting characters, and they're I think they're very the same as me. My father was very much more Catholic than my mother.
Okay.
My mom had a very personal relationship with God.
Okay.
Just in herself.
Yeah.
And my dad was very Catholic, so he'll pray to all the saints and stuff like that. And I remember, I always remember this story is your mom just told me like, why are you praying to a person? Just pray to God and just go to the direct. And, and I remember him telling me that, and he was like, she was right. Like, why would I do that?
That's so funny.
It's just so funny. And and when I was young, I didn't realize that was a Catholic practice.
Yeah.
And my mom just wasn't.
Yeah.
Just didn't really grow. She's religious, or she's spiritual, but she's not not highly religious.
Yeah.
And so growing up, I never really had this. My parents they wouldn't take me to church like that. Like we wouldn't really go. We weren't church goers. My father was more of a church goer, but he was a nomad. He kept butting up against the church in some way, shape, or form, and he was just like, "No, this isn't right." And then he'll go to a different one.
Yeah,
that's funny. And it was so funny. He was always looking for
the right place.
And he just could never pin it down.
Yeah.
And so that was a very interesting experience growing up and stuff for myself. And then my mom was like, but you need to learn about God. And so she sent me to that school because, it's private and it was a good education and stuff. And then there was a whole religion class. And I learned a lot. It was really interesting because I actually sat down and we learned about the Bible.
Yeah.
We actually got into
cool.
it and studied it and everything. And so I was already inherently I never rejected it.
Okay.
I never rejected the idea of God or anything like that. So I was always connected to it and everything. And it was really nice to learn about the Bible in the way that they taught it. And then I proceeded with my own life and my own experiences, and I had very interesting experiences for myself, and they've really enlightened how I relate and move in the world because of it. So it's very it even connects to the separation we do as from our context. Mm-hmm. We can't separate ourselves. We are a part of the whole thing, and if you want to change your life, you have to change your context. It's almost impossible. Which is why when people do change and everything like that, there's this inherent almost pattern of losing the people that were friends before. Mm-hmm. Even if your life was normal and everything was fine, but you do a dramatic change, people fall off.
Yeah,
it's almost inherent.
So to that point, you're starting a podcast.
Yeah.
You have aspirations for your life. I don't know what other things in business are you doing outside of this. But if you're going to go hang around the same kids that you grew up with, that are not going anywhere, that are probably smoking weed and drinking too much, or that are okay working at the Target fulfillment warehouse. I'm not saying that's a bad job. I'm just saying people that aren't driven people.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to be around people that are driven.
Yeah, it's huge.
You know, it helps you level up.
Yeah.
You get deeper understandings of what you're doing, why you're doing it. You get tips from people. You get encouragement from people.
Right.
You know, the people that talk the most mess to people are the ones that they're doing less than you.
Right.
They don't want to see you do good.
Right.
And so they're going to hate on you a little bit.
Right.
So yeah, who you surround yourself with is so crucial,
It's
you
huge.
know,
It's huge.
and that changes for people. And I think I had a misconception as a young person that, I had to have this loyalty to this friend group growing up. And really that idea became busted open because, you know, for me, I saw myself regressing back. That was my own fault and people separated from me. And then it's like, once I started to want to really make changes in my life, I saw like, no, those friends were already left behind and that had to happen that way. But these new people that aren't even really my friends, but we're kind of like justifying each other's bullshit, basically. I need to push them away or just let them fall off on their own.
Right.
Because for me, working out, going to service, going to the mountains to be with God, that's where I find God in nature.
Oh, nice.
Really, you know, working on myself. There's not a lot of people out there that want to do those things.
Yeah.
You know, and that's fine.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that's fine.
I mean,
I just want to be surrounded by those people that do want to
that
better
do.
themselves.
Yeah. It's a very individual path most of the time, and mostly now in the society we live, it's a little individual. You know what's funny is I just remembered I wanted to touch on this, the 30-day challenge that you did.
Okay.
What you explained to me in the music was a type of music that I really like, and it's called redemption music.
Okay.
So redemption music is very, very specific, and I've found it on my own. I can't say that I've particularly ever listened to Christian music.
Okay.
But I have listened to music that's heavily influenced. So like for example, like, and it's on the nose, right? But like a song like that I've encountered is Redemption Song by Bob Marley.
Okay. Yeah.
Huge,
Yeah.
right? Like that literally it's and it. But the song is an archetypal type of song. It's redemption music. There's this bittersweetness that is being conveyed that's so reminiscent of life and its challenges and its blessings and stuff like that. So like I can imagine listening to 30 days of that specific type of music would be pretty shifting, in all honesty.
I used to listen to a lot of hip hop and just terrible hip hop.
Sure.
And, first of all, it got worse. So that's part of the reason why I stopped listening to it. It's terrible. But
Sure.
but honestly, talking about killing people, talking about 22-inch golden rims, talking about like all the nonsense that's talked about, like it's not positive music in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And I got so sick and tired of my previous life. I wanted something different for myself. And I knew I needed to completely transform my life.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
that meant everything down to the socks I wore, the music I listened to, the thoughts that I had in my head. Speaking of this mindset coach, like to me, mindset is everything.
Yeah.
Mindset is 90% of business. It's 90% of your life. If you have a good attitude about things, you can get through almost anything.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's like a Buddhist teaching, or what you are, what you think, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing is, Buddha was enlightened.
Yeah.
Different religious people from around the world had their own spiritual experiences, and they all contributed something that we can use in our daily lives.
Huge.
And, out of respect for people who are Buddhist, out of respect for people that worship whatever the heck they worship. I mean, to me, there's one God. We're just all talking about the same thing. It's just different names, basically.
Sure.
But I am all about respecting what people want, because at the end of the day, if that person is able to heal their heart, heal their mind, heal their soul through that source, who am I to say that's not right?
For sure.
That's not what I'm here to do.
100%.
We'll leave the judgment up to the judge.
Yeah,
Right?
for sure.
Yeah.
I agree 100%. Yeah, actually, I was about to tell you. Perfect. Thank you.
No, it's all good. Yeah, I was like, well,
Yeah, it gets
you gotta
warm after
hear
a
us,
certain
so
point.
you can't have it on, maybe.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
Oh, and it's hidden.
Yeah,
There's a little trap door for it.
Yeah, 100%.
Oh my gosh. So are you guys a couple or?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Are you guys married?
No.
When's the marriage? When's the wedding? You guys gotta invite me.
Yeah.
Did you guys?
Yeah, we've been fully dating since I mean, we're in a relationship since February, but we started dating in August.
Congratulations.
Yeah. It's
awesome.
been pretty great. Yeah.
So you got to let me produce, and you'll come over, sit over here, and we'll talk about how you guys met.
Yeah.
The dating show.
Yeah, she does. How funny. Yeah, no, we met. It's funny because me and her. The whole story with me and her is it's funny because I was sort of just like I was actually pursuing somebody, and I sort of just like said, you know what, I'm wasting my time, I'm distracted, let me let it all go, and let me be entirely free, and if somebody shows up, somebody shows up. She showed up like a month later.
Wow. Okay.
she showed up, and I met her through mutual friends.
Okay.
And so yeah, I met her. I instantly, from the energy through the group text message that we're all in, I was like, who is this? and then we met, and then we started talking, and the energy was just there. Like it was I don't know. It was like it was seamless.
Yeah.
Very
awesome.
seamless. And then we started talking about I started talking about my ideas and stuff that I wanted to do, and she looked at me and she's like, stop copying me. And so we were really in sync.
So my question to you is,
things are cool.
My question to you was, were those your thoughts of leaving that other person, or were those God's thoughts telling you I have something better for you?
You know, that's hard. That's so hard because that's so hard.
That He planted in your mind.
You know,
or your higher power, excuse me.
Yeah, no, you're good. You can, yeah, it's fine. That's a hard one for me because I feel like I intentionally said I'm done. I feel like I intentionally said that, and so where I think God came in was her. That for me, you know what I'm saying? So but I had to let it go. I had to let the idea of something else go completely, and finally be free and focus on me, kind of a situation.
Yeah.
Be open, basically. I was closed off and I was isolated. I was isolated for a little bit when it came to the previous experience that I had, and so yeah. Once I dropped it, and I shifted my focus, and I rebalanced with myself. It sort of just happened. It sort of just happened.
It's funny when people try for years and decades to get the right person, the spouse, to get married, and it's like I almost feel like people try too hard.
Yeah.
And if you actually, like you said, let go
and
just trust in the flow of life, and that things will happen the way they're supposed to happen.
For sure.
The right person, but you have to be the right person that can be there for that individual too.
100%.
So there's amount of maybe preparation that's involved too.
Yeah.
But I mean, the way I view it is this girl showing up in my life, that was divine timing.
Right.
She helped me in such a incredibly tough time in my life.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And we struggle today with communication with certain things.
Sure.
But it's like, without a doubt, 100%. I know she has my back. She's so supportive. And, I had to go through 2 tough relationships prior to that, including my daughter's mom, who we're not together anymore.
Sure.
To really not only value that relationship that I have now, but to find out, okay, truly, what is it that I want in a spouse?
Yeah.
Not just looks.
Right.
Because looks are fleeting, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, gravity starts to work in after a while.
yeah. The sun beats on people, everybody here.
Yeah. So what's truly important?
Yeah.
And, going back to kind of touch on recovery and sobriety and stuff, or people that they're not sure what they even want. Well, start with writing down what you don't want, and then figure out what you do want. Oftentimes I talk to people about what's your core values, what's really important in your life. You'd be surprised how many people they don't even know.
They don't know.
They don't have a true north compass for what's important in their life.
It's huge.
And I think that's also like a signal to the universe that, hey, I'm ready to up level my life because I truly know what I want in life.
Yeah.
If you're kind of floundering and you're just like kind of willy-nilly about it, the universe responds to who we are, to who, the frequency that we're putting out. And if we don't know what we want, how can it respond in a way to give us,
exactly
anything other than just chaos?
Yeah,
right.
For sure. Yeah, no, I have the same mentality about it. I have this I guess this way of thinking about it where this episode is brought to you by me, or maybe by you, or anybody who's subscribed on my website at tucson.com for exclusive content, ad-free episodes, and some more extra goodies. that happened to be there. So if you want to support, go down there. Go down in the comments. Go down in the description. Just click the link. Subscribe. Might have a promo. I might possibly have a promo. I most likely do have a promo. Subscribe. Check it out. Join the club. Hope you will like the rest of the episode. There's going to be another one. Hope you enjoy that. I guess it goes back to like say you want abs. You can't get abs. You maintain abs.
Yeah.
You can't. You never obtain anything.
Yeah.
You can only maintain things.
Yeah.
And that's the only way things come to you.
I like that.
But you have to literally maintain it.
Yeah.
Because there's no you'll get abs.
Yeah.
But what, you're gonna stop doing the thing that got you the abs?
Start eating hot dogs again every day.
Yeah. And that small principle falls for everything. If you want to be an extreme athlete, you have to live the life of an extreme athlete.
Yeah.
You want to be a performer, then you have to be performing. Like that. It's I forget this. I forget this phrase. I think it's you have to live your dharma, and this is from the Indian pantheon. So and then dharma is like to live your life's purpose.
Right.
Like it is your dharma. It is my dharma to sit here and talk to you and be a podcaster. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
and live this fully and authentically, and in doing so, reality shifts and orients itself with you.
Yeah.
And it's a fun experience.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
I feel that, it's like all the struggles and everything I went through.
Yeah.
It was like, there's got to be something else out there than this.
Right.
There's many times looking up at airplanes going across the sky. Like, can I just get on that airplane right now, God? Like, I just want to get the heck out of here.
Yeah.
Almost jumping a train one night, just completely wanting to check out.
Yeah.
And, I did all that. It was self-imposed crisis. I did all that stuff to myself.
Sure.
But again, I wouldn't trade it for the world because it taught me so many lessons.
Yeah.
That hopefully I can speak life into other people, especially young people. Because part of my business, what I truly want to do is to be able to speak to youth, is to be able to be a speaker in front of younger people. I relate to younger people so much.
Nice.
And that's just a whole nother area of business that I could see myself, opening up to.
How does, speaking on your business, so how does it work exactly? Do you hold groups and then you speak in front of them, or are you just a speaker?
So as of right now, I work one-on-one with people for 12 weeks.
Oh, fantastic.
And it's a private service.
Oh,
so
okay.
Speaking of AA and other ways that you get sober, nobody has monopoly on sobriety.
Yeah.
But this is specifically designed for people who are private, that don't want anybody to know what they're going through or dealing with, really high-level executives, business owners, again, all these people, that I can come in and provide this service, and nobody's going to know I'm there. It's not going to be posted about. It's not going to be, they don't have to go into a meeting and share, right? That doesn't work for everybody.
Wow.
And I think there's an apprehension for people that think about some of the top 10, 15, 20 business people in Tucson. I guarantee you at least one of those people has a drinking or drugging problem. And I guarantee you what's holding that person back from a better life is that they're afraid if they out themselves to the community, to friends, to neighbors, that their business will be in jeopardy.
Right.
And see, I don't think that's the case, but that fear prevents people from actually asking for help.
Right.
So I try and just promote myself as somebody who is just a private one-on-one confidential service. I come to you, you come to me, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And, we start with 12 weeks. Some people do 24 weeks. It just kind of depends on what people need. I've been accepting coaching in my life for many years, for decades, and I've seen the value of it.
Yeah.
And I actually did it prior to my addiction. So I just want to kind of hop back in time. I sold educational books door to door in college.
Really?
So I was exposed to personal development and coaching and all this stuff at a very young age.
Interesting.
And so that's what made that middle part of my life even more difficult, is that I knew right from wrong. I knew the right next actions to take.
Sure.
I chose wrong. I chose this misery and all this BS that I was going through.
Sure.
But it's made me even stronger today. And again, people that have a mentor, people that use coaching, their lives typically are running smoothly, and they have an outlet. They have somebody confidentially they can go to and share with if something comes up. I just met somebody recently. It's really interesting. He runs a ministry called Romans 12's Ministry. So basically they're very niche, and I love it. So they are an outlet and a mentoring service for pastors.
Oh, interesting.
Because if you think about it, who do pastors go to when they have a problem?
It's huge.
Who do they go to? They don't go to anybody.
Yeah, right.
They go to the man upstairs.
The man
Sometimes it helps to have a human being to be like, yo, I've been in your shoes.
Right.
Like, this is how I got through it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
And so I met this gentleman and just, it blew me away. You know, there's such a need for even that.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, religion aside, it's like there's many pastors that go down this dark path and they get exercise from the church. People say, oh, you did this. Well, yeah, but he was holding it in. He was bottling it in.
Right.
Just like I was in my addiction. Eventually you implode.
Yeah.
Everybody has to have somebody they can talk to and trust in.
Right.
The biggest thing is that you got to have a closed mouth friend that you can actually trust to go to and share something. They may laugh at you, but they're not laughing at you. They're laughing like, hey, I've been there too.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But they've been there. They know what it's like. They'll speak life into you. Like, those people are not a dime a dozen. They should be cherished.
Yeah,
if you have people
100%.
like that in your life.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's a vital thing to have.
Yeah.
It's a vital thing to have, that, and the human connection where somebody's really just laughing with you, even if it's miserable.
yeah.
You know,
we'll get through this together.
Yeah,
man.
that's
I've been
fantastic.
there, you know.
I got to give you credit that business structures seems very smart.
Thank you.
Yeah, kudos. You've been doing that for a year?
For about a year. Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah. Doing my podcast for about 6 months.
6 months, okay.
Trying to funnel people to my business.
Yeah.
Through that, I do a lot of clips. I use Opus Clip
Smart
and
move.
stuff.
Smart move.
Trying to get more speaking engagements. I've spoken to about 3 or 4 places here in Tucson.
Nice.
Company of realtors, spoken in front of business owners in Scottsdale. Actually had an opportunity to speak at the Gospel Rescue Mission.
Wow.
To a high school basketball team.
Yeah.
So just really cool stuff. I want to continue to do those things because I just truly feel like I can make an impact, especially with the youth here locally in Tucson.
Sure. Yeah. And then you've been here. You're born and raised in Tucson, right?
Born and raised, yeah.
That's so
yeah,
cool.
Grew up on the west side. And, yeah.
I had a specific question there. It escaped me. How was it getting started doing this? Because I can't imagine. You're like, all right, I want to be a private coach for this specific type of group of people.
Yeah.
How do you even get your foot in the door? How was that?
You know what? I'm still trying to figure that out, to be quite honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah, still trying to figure that out. But really, I feel like God put a calling on my heart to do this coaching business.
Yeah.
And there's a million coaches out there.
Right.
And frankly, there's a 500,000 coaches that suck and that truly just want to take people's money.
Right.
That are in it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Okay. So people are apprehensive about hiring a coach. People are apprehensive about working with somebody because they're not sure if they're going to get results.
Right.
But the reality of it is the results are up to the person accepting the coaching.
Right.
If you don't put in the work, if I'm working with you and I'm coaching you, and if I'm suggesting this or that or the other, and you're not doing none of that stuff, we're both wasting our time.
Yeah.
And you're wasting your money. Right.
Yeah.
So it's something that's been around forever. Really high level people value it.
Yeah.
Most people that you know who is a business owner or really high level person, they have a coach.
Yeah.
They may not tell you that, but everybody has you just call it a mentor too. Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Right. You know. And so I'm sorry, I forgot your initial
No,
question.
just how has it been getting your foot in the door?
Yeah, it's been difficult. I mean, I've worked with clients. I think that it's one of those things that people kind of they feel you out. They want to see what you're about. They want to see maybe you in the space for longer. And also, I truly feel like I was initially going after the wrong clients.
Interesting.
Yes. Yeah. So
why?
Because I was focusing on people who were, to be a business owner, if you have a half a brain, you can run an air conditioning business.
Right.
You can run a restaurant. Doesn't mean you're successful, but if you can just keep it going enough to pay your bills and keep the lights on,
right,
and you don't have that internal drive, you're not somebody that I'm interested in working with.
Interesting. Okay.
You're going to have every excuse in the book why it doesn't work or just not want to do it to begin with.
Sure.
So the people that I'm interested in working with are truly my ideal client. Would be just like somebody who is just a super high level executive with a company, who's a very private person, who just wants somebody that they can actually trust. There's a trust recession in coaching. I don't know if you've heard that.
No, I haven't.
That before.
No.
Yeah. So people have been getting, ripped off and feel like they haven't got their money's worth. And now, is that the fault of the person who is doing the coaching or the person who's receiving the coaching, or a combination of both?
Yeah.
Because if you hire me or somebody else hires me, it's up to you to do the work.
To that.
Right.
To do the work, for sure.
And
you can take a horse to go to a water, but
exactly. And my coaching is based off lived experience.
Right.
Mine's not philosophical. Mine's not, I read this in a book, let's try this. I'm like, no, I've been where you're at. And that reminds me of a quick story I'll tell. So there's a guy stuck in a hole. Okay. priest walks by. He yells up. He says, "Help, help, can you help me? I need to get out of this hole." And the priest says, "Here, I'll say three, prayers for you." And he walks on. The next guy walks by. "Help, help, can you get me out of this hole?" He's a doctor. He writes a prescription and he drops it into the hole. And he says, "Here you go." And he's like, "Oh man, that's not really helping me." Third guy walks by. "Help, help, can you help me get out of this hole?" And the guy jumps in the hole with him. And he looks at him. He's like, "Dude, what are you doing?" He's like, "I've been here before and I know the way out."
There you go. Yeah. I like that.
So that kind of sums up my approach to it.
Yeah.
I don't coach from theory. I coach from lived experience.
Right.
I help. And here's the thing is, again, backtracking, 90% of business is mindset. Okay. Right. I'm not here to teach someone how to run their business. I'm here to teach them how to be a better human being, which ultimately will lead to them running a better business.
For sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of the fundamental things about, if you know what you're doing from a technical perspective, and you're just not a good human being, or you're just stuck in addiction somewhere.
Sure.
And if you fix that one component, your business can 10x easily.
Yeah.
Or as a salesperson.
Right.
I was making $200,000 a year selling cars, and that was kind of on the higher end. And there was guys that would come in hungover every morning that were making 50 to 75 a year, which, let's face it, that's good money for a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I wanted to maximize, because of my position in life. I hadn't worked for a lot of my adult life because of my addiction.
Right.
I really wanted to maximize that opportunity. And so I showed up every single day with clarity, with focus, with intention. And not everybody does that.
Yeah, for sure.
People that are hungover, people that are not into mindset work, that want to, the complainers of the world. We all know those people, right? It's always somebody else's fault. It's never their own fault.
Sure.
Right. So those are the types of things that you don't have to be a genius. You just have to start implementing those things in your life.
Right.
And all other things aside, if you know the technical side of your business, let's call it an air conditioning business. I'm not going to go into somebody's business and say, "This is what you need to do. You need to take this off the market, start selling this, do this differently." No. How do you show up for yourself every day? How do you show up for your employees every day? And how do you show up for your customers every day?
Right.
What integrity do you bring to the table, if any?
Right.
And how are you doing that day by day with discipline, with surrender? Because here's the other thing, and you kind of touched on this. I feel like if you've got too much of a hold on something, you let go of that relationship. You release that. And what did it do? It made space for something even better.
Right, yeah.
Okay, oftentimes as business owners, I see this all the time. They're just like,
they hold on, yeah.
And it's like, do you not trust your people?
Literally.
Do you not trust yourself enough to trust your people? Like, what is it about that?
Yeah.
And usually business owners are the bottleneck in the business,
That's so funny. Yeah. I've seen it firsthand. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's it's tough. It's tough, and people do get stuck. People do get stuck, and they're worried about the letting go.
Yeah.
They're worried about the letting go.
Yeah.
There's a at least on my perspective, because I've always had a pattern of holding on too tight to something.
Yeah.
But I've also had the practice of letting go, and it's always been a guarantee it's gonna get better when I do. And so that's just that's just it's so prevalent. It's so prevalent. It reminds me of a I don't know, it was like a drawing of somebody of like it's literally Jesus talking to a little girl who has like a ripped up like teddy bear behind her back.
Yeah.
And he's basically like, "Give it to me.
Yeah.
Like I'll take it."
Yeah.
Because behind him he has a giant teddy bear that he's ready to give her.
Back, yeah.
Yeah.
She doesn't trust.
Yeah. It's so funny. And so like it succinctly says what I said, right? And there's this like, yeah, it's crazy to hear that statement of that. Most of the time the business owner is the bottleneck to the business.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're so used to doing things the way we've always done them. Maybe our parents taught us, or we just, if it's not broke, don't fix it attitude. But no, it is kind of broken. Like,
Yeah.
But the idea of surrender, I don't care if you're Christian, Buddhist, whatever your spiritual or religious beliefs are, the idea of surrender should go across the board.
Yeah.
Because it's that like physically letting go, like imagine yourself dropping off a hot air balloon and just trusting that your chute's going to open.
Right.
Like when you go to open a door, you trust that doorknob's going to open. When you go to hit that light, that light's going to come on. You don't even think about it. When you can turn your life over to something greater than yourself and truly do that, then I think that's when the miracles really start to happen Not only in people's personal lives, relationships, but also in business.
Yeah.
You got to trust your people. You got to trust in something greater than yourself. You can't be the end all be all.
Right.
The bottleneck of the business.
Yeah. That's huge. It's so huge.
Well, I just took a wild turn, huh?
It's That's the fun. That's the fun part of this kind of stuff. That's so cool. How in your life, and you have a good amount of time here. What's been your experience with Tucson as a city?
I was born and raised here.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of have maybe a love-hate relationship to a certain extent.
Sure.
I mean, I've been all around the United States. I've been to various countries.
Right.
The United States is the best country in the whole world, like, to me.
For sure.
You know, the amount of freedom that we have here.
Yeah.
If you think about other countries like the Philippines, they actually at one time were putting people to death that were addicts.
Right.
Like, literally.
Yeah, they really were.
Okay. So we have the freedom to do whatever we want.
Right.
And I fly an American flag at my house. And the reason that I do that is
Sure.
I'm not an immigrant. Well, my parents were Irish immigrants 3-4 generations ago.
Sure.
But the United States, to me, means that anybody can have a second chance. Anybody can build a life from nothing, from scratch.
Right.
Like in Russia, if I was this addict and had been to prison, would I have had these same opportunities that I have today?
Yeah, it's huge.
Probably not. It might have been a harder road to toil.
Yeah.
You know, frankly. You know, I had the courage to ask this gentleman for a job and get this great job and turn my life around from that standpoint. But I also think that's where, you know, the God of my understanding comes in and is really like, okay, I see that you put in the work. I'm going to bless you. I'm going to help you along your journey.
Yeah.
Because I know there's greater things in store for you.
Yeah.
And so with Tucson, it's like, you know, with what I'm trying to do, it's not a hotbed for personal growth. If you look around the majority of Tucson, it's people kind of just getting by. They're okay living a menial life.
Sure.
You know, I've traveled to Salt Lake City, to Dallas, to LA, to Chicago, to all these big cities that are just booming with business.
Sure.
And there's really a different attitude about these cities as far as business is conducted and things like that.
Right.
And so that's why I feel like at some point I will move to a bigger city.
Sure.
But also I don't mind traveling to meet clients wherever they're at.
Wherever they're at.
But no, Tucson is absolutely gorgeous. I
Yeah.
mean, we love the mountains. I live out east, so just to get up on Mount Lemmon is a quick trip for me.
Nice.
And to me, that's a very spiritual place. My mom's ashes are up there.
Nice.
So yeah, it's just you cannot beat the location with the desert, the mountains, the climate in the wintertime, even the heat. I do love the heat. To be quite honest with you.
I get that.
Yeah,
I get that
yeah.
a lot. That's so fun. It's so fun. You gotta give it some credit. It made you, right.
yeah. No, but I mean, there's wonderful people here.
Yeah.
People are moving here all the time, left and right, because the living expenses are getting higher in California and everywhere else across the country.
For sure.
And most of those people have really good things to say about it here. You know, I wish it was a little more focused on growing business within Tucson. I feel like Oro Valley and Marana are more of the hotbeds for like tech and a lot of business now. But you know, I don't know exactly what's going on in the inner workings of everything.
No, for
but
sure.
There's the University of Arizona, right?
Yeah.
There's Raytheon. There's a few other big corporations that are the big employers. My dad was a employee at Pima Community College, another big employer.
Oh, nice.
And you know, there's opportunity. My parents were teachers. They didn't make a lot of money. I feel like they should get paid more, to be quite honest with you.
For sure.
You know? But yeah, I mean, people having extra money and being able to grow themselves spiritually, physically, emotionally, mentally, I think is just a great thing.
Yeah.
You know, but here's the trick to that too. I feel like if you do that spiritual growth and everything else, then the money comes. It doesn't come first.
Yeah.
It comes second.
Yeah.
Because if you're complaining you're not making enough money, well, first of all, you're complaining, so that's not good.
Right.
But you're probably not growing individually as a person enough to be able to accept that new raise into your life, or to be able to step into that new role. Because to me, money's just energy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's how people. That's how that's how people have related to it, and it's funny because like I've come to see it in that way, in a sort of sense. I've come to see it as like the blood of a society almost. So like, and it depends on like what you're doing. If you're doing good work for the body will supply the blood. So like it's an interesting thing, and I completely agree with you. I personally have a vision for the city, and I hope it can be implemented, and I'm hoping I'll be part of the spearhead of it. I want the energy to increase.
Okay.
Yeah, and I wanna have fun.
Yeah,
And I think fun helps a lot.
No, absolutely. And,
Yeah.
you know, to your point, I mean, having better live events here, having better, you know, venues, concerts. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, there's a new casino going up right here.
Oh, right.
I don't know if they have concerts in there. I mean, you
I
know,
don't know. I have no idea. It's going to be
but-
interesting when that happens.
but you know, we do get passed by a lot of major big artists, having maybe a festival here, having something that
Yeah.
is specifically Tucson. Like there is a lot of great stuff going on. Don't get me wrong.
100%.
I just feel like there's a lot more potential for growth to happen.
Yeah.
And I love that idea. You know,
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, I think
because people are going to continue to move here because of the weather, because of the cost of living isn't what it is other places.
Yeah.
You know, how do we retain people coming out of the University of Arizona that want to leave to LA because their pay is $50,000 more per year there,
Yeah, it's huge.
right?
That's huge.
Because those are the type of people we want in this community. We want to bring good jobs here. We want to have good employers here. We want to
Right.
have good community-minded people
Yeah.
that you know, that will not necessarily like X out all the bad people, but when a community
Push it.
thrives all together,
Yeah.
the level rises
It
too,
rises everything.
you know?
Yeah. What is it? Raising tide raises all ships or
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. No, I completely agree, and I think it'll be. I think that's like the place where Tucson is. It's ripe, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun
Yeah.
to see it
Yeah.
turn in that way. So we'll see how it goes, and
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. It's so fun. Mike, we've been talking for about an hour now.
Yeah.
Yes. Shoot.
Go for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Let's see. We got producer questions.
Let's go.
Okay.
On the hot seat here.
Let's go. What are some practical skills you help men develop to overcome addiction?
You know, I think first of all, the biggest one is confidence in yourself. You know, I think that this I mentioned this cycle of drinking or using on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Breaking that cycle, because that beats down any type of confidence that you have within yourself, because you're breaking your promise to yourself on a daily basis,
Right.
maybe on an hourly basis, depending on how addicted you are. And so I think that when people, I'm sorry, can you repeat the question again?
What are some practical skills you help men develop to overcome addiction?
Yeah, so I think the confidence is huge. Developing men's confidence to understand
huge.
that, look, I can be just as fun, I can be just as interesting without a drink in my hand, without a drug in my hand. Because I think when men can overcome that challenge, they really flourish.
Yeah.
Because there is a big misconception that this is like my little safety net.
Yeah.
Right here. You know, when I'm networking and stuff.
Yeah.
Or who am I going to become without it?
Yeah.
You know, so this whole identity thing. So helping men develop a new identity,
Right.
and it can be anything. And there's a saying that I really subscribe to. There's a fear of the unknown with people, and for me that rang true.
Right.
I didn't know who I was going to be, and that was scary in itself.
Yeah. No, it's huge.
You know, so helping men develop an identity with something greater than themselves. For me, I like to tell people, look, I'm a loving child of God. That is my identity. You know, because no matter what happens in life, the business success, failures, personal success, failures, at the end of the day, what really matters is how I treat people, how I show up for myself, how I treat myself. And I think a big thing is a lot of men and women, they want to escape reality. They don't want
Right.
to take personal accountability for what's going on in their life. And it's become like an epidemic almost. You know, so I think holding people accountable, getting them to hold themselves accountable is huge. Like for me, I'll share a quick story with you. About 3 weeks ago, I went to New Mexico to see my daughter. So I mentioned losing custody of my daughter, but I'm back in her life today. She's 17. She's amazing.
Nice.
I just have a great relationship with her.
That's
And I was
fantastic.
supposed to drive to Salt Lake City for an event. And, you know, I woke up Saturday morning in New Mexico and I thought, you know, I just don't want to go. And so I said, okay, well, I'll drive to Sholo, because Sholo is like the turning point. I either go to Utah or I go back to Tucson. Right? It's a little out of the way.
Sure.
But man, I got there and something was just tugging on me, telling me to not go home. I started driving home. I called my fiance. We talked about it. I started getting flushed in the face. And you know what it was? Is I was going against what I had committed to doing.
Yeah.
And so I ended up going, and I ended up getting some work out of this trip up there and connecting
Right.
with this company in Salt Lake, which I think is going to turn out to be just an incredible opportunity.
Fantastic.
And I'm just so glad I went and followed through on my word.
Yeah.
I think that oftentimes men, we don't follow through on what we say we're going to do. And that really eats away at our confidence. It eats away at our self-respect. It eats away at so many different things.
Yeah.
And if you can't do what you say you're going to do, then you're not gonna. You might say you want to live this new life, but you're really just bullshitting yourself.
Right. Yeah.
So-
No. That's funny. You bring up accountability, and there's this person talking about like how some of the adverse effects of AI and how that's coming and being prevalent, and she was saying everything is getting outsourced, but the only thing that's not going to get outsourced that's human is accountability and that follow through. And accountability is just like a giant thing with for yourself in that relationship with yourself, right? To build that upon that word that you only have. And it's big. And to betray it is to betray yourself, and people don't. I feel like it's some people haven't fully connected that. So that's giant. That's a great thing to provide people, truly.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Let's see what they want to do. What do you think is the biggest issue that causes addiction to overtake someone's life? Why do you think this happens?
Well, without a doubt, it's trauma. I dealt with trauma as a young child of sexual abuse, and it happened within my family. And that led me to getting arrested, to acting out as a kid,
Right.
to really going down this route of smoking and drinking. And I look back on it and I think, I think I was crying out for help.
Right.
But it was like, I didn't want to just be like, oh, I need help.
Right.
Because that was modeled to me, like in my family. You just you just deal with life.
Right.
You just do things.
Right.
That's kind of an old school mentality.
Yeah.
But it's still very prevalent within people. So
Yeah.
I think across the board, it's trauma. And trauma doesn't have to be sexual abuse. It doesn't have to be watching somebody get murdered. It can be as simple as, I'll give you an example. So this guy, David Bayer, that I follow, he tells a story as a kid. He's putting together a school project his dad's helping him with. And he moves something from this paper mache, whatever he creates, he moves the house from here over to here. And his dad walks up to him. He's like, no, you can't do that. The house actually goes right here. You can't change it. And so to him as a kid, because we're not developed, we don't have the intellectual capacity to understand what's going on.
Right.
He thought to himself in that moment, I don't do things right. And that thought stayed with him for decades into his adult life.
Wow.
And so he had a transformative experience where that came to the light, and that, so just like something that most people would just breeze by, that's minuscule, but as a kid, it can have such a huge impact on your life.
Right.
From your grandma, your nana yelling at you, saying something that you're like, oh my God, I'm a bad person, whatever that is. Because we're kids, we don't know any better.
Yeah.
We internalize it.
Yeah, huge.
And so you end up creating this person who gets into a younger adult and who still thinks that same way, and who's trapped in this jail, this prison of those thoughts, of that identity that was put on him by somebody else.
Right.
So, I mean, there's a million ways you could look at it.
Yeah, that's so real. That's so real. Yeah, and it makes some sense, because I've seen that connection too. Trauma's huge.
Yeah.
My older brother, for sure. My father, even he dealt something with it in his childhood. So,
I mean, I would say 100% of people in the world have dealt with some kind of trauma.
It's traumatic. Yeah.
And being a man, we're told to suck it up and move on with life.
Right.
And you know what? That doesn't work for everybody.
No.
The addicts that we talked about that really feel on a deep level, that especially does not work for them.
On top of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mostly when they're like, and that's like the thing. It's like the sensitive ones end up being, they get that trauma laid on them, and then like the reaction is just as warranted, basically.
Yeah.
So it's a tragedy. It really is.
Yeah.
It seems to be prevalent, and something that's really sobering, in all honesty, when you find out how prevalent it is sometimes. It's truly a tragedy.
Especially for men. I talk about it, I share it.
Yeah.
Because there's so many men that have dealt with sexual abuse.
Yeah.
And they're so ashamed of it, and they're so scared to talk up to people, and it keeps them trapped.
Yeah.
Not only in addiction, but it keeps them trapped in this less than desirable life.
Right.
And, I heard something within the last year that really resonated with me. And it's this idea of a soul contract. I don't know if you've ever heard this term before.
I've heard of the term, but I don't know what it is.
So basically, when we come to Earth, we got shot down the hole, and we're the baby, and then we're out.
Yeah.
You sign a contract, you know what you're getting into.
Right.
You know beforehand what's going to happen throughout your entire life.
Sure.
For the enlightenment of your soul and for your spirit. And it's up to you whether you take that challenge on once you get to Earth.
Right.
So I truly believe that with my heart.
Yeah.
Because had these experiences not happened to me, I would not be this person today.
Right.
Kind of to my point earlier.
Yeah. For
Right.
Sure.
Like the perspective that I have on life is 1,000% different than it was not only before these instances, but even into my addiction.
Yeah.
So
yeah. No, fantastic. Yeah, I get that. And to get to that point is very, it's a giant step, man. And I give you kudos because like a lot of people have a lot of people have an issue, and rightfully so. Life can be pretty intense, but to fully accept the context that you came from, because you like who you are, is a step that is a hard step to take, but a really good step to take.
Yeah.
Because it's just like impossible to separate yourself, and that's it's a grand step, man.
Yeah.
Okay, kudos for truly.
Thank you so much.
So cool, man. I appreciate the time. I appreciate the conversation.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Before ending, I like asking the guests if they can give me 3 names that they would love for me to sit across and talk to them. If you have 3 suggestions, I would love to hear them. If not, no worries. But
yeah. So you want 3 guests to sit across from me here?
Yeah.
I definitely have 3. I have way more than that. I just don't know if I can give you 3 right this second. I'll have to look through my phone.
It's cool. It's fine if you can.
I know another podcaster here in town.
Oh yeah.
He has a podcast called People Helping People.
Oh, cool.
And I think you guys would jive.
Okay.
So that would be one of them for sure.
Yeah.
You tell me who you want to speak with, and I'll tell you if I got the person.
If they're from Tucson and they're doing cool things, that's it.
That's who you want to talk
That's
to.
it. That's it.
Yeah. No, I definitely have more people in mind. I just
Perfect.
gotta
You can send it to me later.
Yeah.
It's a little
Done deal.
little question
Yeah.
on the spot.
Yeah,
so
no,
don't worry about
absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
Either way, thank you, Mike.
Dude, thank you.
Appreciate
It's been
it.
a pleasure.
It was
Yeah.
a good time. It was a good convo. Great.
Thank you. You think so?
Heck yeah.
All right. Cool. Hey, can we get a picture of the 3 of us before I leave?
Yeah, we can do it. You want to do it with the white shot, love? We could just take a. I'm telling you guys, she's trying to booby trap me over here. She's just catch me red-handed. Just press record and doesn't say a word. I'm just here sitting, waiting patiently for her to give me a sign. I stare at her. You're on. Oh, great, fantastic. You guys made it to the end? Awesome. You real for that. Thank you so much for watching the whole episode. I hope you liked it. Again, leave a comment. Write something specific that the guest said. Could have been wild. Could have not. Maybe you just found it fascinating. Share anything. Share a critique of the episode. Maybe there's something I could do better. Let me know. Again, thank you so much for getting to the end. I know these are long episodes, but hey, maybe you're just washing the dishes. Maybe you're just taking a drive. I appreciate you for putting me in the background. Shout outs. I appreciate it. Again, if you wanted to watch this ad-free, go to the description in the below. The link is there. eltusonen.com. Become a member. Subscribe. Get exclusive content, exclusive membership deals and stuff like that. So, yeah. Thank you again. Like, follow, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. YouTube thinks you'll like this video or that one. Or is it this one? You can subscribe here, but I don't know. It's up to you.